Alpine. The history of Alpine Electronics began long before the Alpine brand itself appeared. Its roots go back to post-war Japan, when in 1948, pioneering engineer Katsutaro Kotoroka founded Kotoroka Electric, a company that manufactured electronic components. The first products were simple parts, such as switches and capacitors for radio receivers. The company grew successfully and in December 1964 changed its name to the more sonorous Alps Electric, as by that time its product range and scale had expanded significantly. Alps Electric actively supplied radio parts and components to major electronics manufacturers and earned a reputation as a reliable supplier. By the mid-1960s, Japan's consumer electronics industry was booming and the car market was taking off. In 1967, Alps Electric decided to get into a new segment, car audio electronics. For this purpose, a joint venture, Alps Motorola, was established with the American corporation Motorola. This step marked the birth of the future Alpine brand. The first successes were not long in coming. By 1968, the company had already established the production of car stereo systems based on 8-track cartridges, and by 1969, it had begun manufacturing its own car radios. Thus, by the end of the 1960s, the successor company Alps Electric had firmly established itself in the emerging car audio segment. In the early 1970s, the Alps Motorola joint venture continued to develop the car audio business. In 1971, the company released its first device under its own brand name, a portable stereo player called Handy 8. This step marked the emergence of the Alpine brand as a manufacturer of end products, not just components. Initially, Alpine's products were aimed at the domestic market in Japan, but the company soon began to expand overseas. By the mid-1970s, Alpine had established its export business. From 1975, Alpine audio systems began to be supplied to global markets. Having become an independent player, Alpine quickly gained recognition. In 1977, the Alpine cassette car radio was chosen as the standard audio system for the prestigious Lamborghini sports cars. The appearance of Alpine in such renowned cars emphasized the brand's premium status. A year later, a landmark event took place. In 1978, Alps Electric bought out Motorola's stake in the joint venture and renamed the company Alpine Electronics. From that moment on, Alpine became a wholly owned subsidiary of the Alps Group and received its current name. By the end of the 1970s, Alpine was already supplying high-end car stereos under its own brand to major car manufacturers, from Honda in Japan to BMW and Volvo in Europe, as well as Chrysler and GM in the United States. The Alpine brand became associated with high-quality and innovative car audio systems around the world. The 1980s were a period of rapid development for both the electronics industry and Alpine. During this decade, the company made a number of technological breakthroughs. One of its most notable achievements was the creation of the world's first car navigation system. In 1981, Alpine, in collaboration with Honda, introduced the electro-gyrocator, which became the prototype for modern GPS navigators. Although the electro-gyrocator did not use satellites, the system worked on the basis of a gyroscope and maps. It was a revolutionary solution for its time and anticipated the future of car navigation. Alpine also actively introduced digital technology into audio. In 1982, the Alpine LS5 series of car stereo systems received the Good Design Award. A few years later, Alpine made a breakthrough in the field of media. In 1985, the company released the industry's first car CD player, the Alpine 5900. This was one of the first steps in the transition from cassettes to compact discs in cars. And in 1988, Alpine introduced the CD Shuttle 5952, a minimalist CD changer that became the world's smallest CD mechanism for installation in a car. In addition to car electronics, Alpine made an attempt to conquer the home audio segment in the 1980s. At the beginning of the decade, the company created a separate brand, Alpage, for the production of consumer hi-fi equipment. Until the early 1980s, the Alpine brand offered stereo components, such as cassette decks and amplifiers, aimed at audiophiles. Seeking to strengthen its position in the home audio segment, Alpine took a bold step. In 1984, it acquired the renowned Luxman, a legendary manufacturer of high-end audio equipment. Alpine's plan was to combine its hi-fi line, the Alpine brand, with the Luxman line, releasing joint products under the dual Alpine Luxman brand. However, this symbiosis did not bring the expected success. The difference in philosophy and approach between the two brands led to unclear positioning and confusion in the market. By the mid-1990s, Alpine decided to focus on its core automotive business and eventually left the home hi-fi business. The Luxman brand was sold, and its own production of consumer electronics was wound up. Alpine's last factory producing home audio equipment closed in 2000, after which the company finally concentrated on automotive systems. In the 1990s, car electronics evolved rapidly, audio systems became multimedia centers, and navigation went from being an exotic feature to a sought-after option. Building on its experience with the electro-gyrocator, Alpine actively developed a new generation of car navigation systems. Alpine began producing GPS navigators at the beginning of the decade. For example, in 1993, it introduced the GP Shuttle system, a high-precision car GPS navigation system. By the mid-1990s, Alpine navigators had gained recognition. In 1996, the Alpine NVEN 055V model won the Grand Prix at the car accessories competition in Japan. Alpine's navigation developments gradually became in demand for factory installation. Of course, Alpine did not forget about sound. In 1991, the company released a new series of high-end Juba audio systems designed for the most demanding car enthusiasts. At the same time, media players were also improving. In 1997, Alpine introduced the W890 head unit, which for the first time combined two popular formats at the time, minidisc and CD, in a single unit. This was an innovative solution that allowed users to listen to music from different media without having to install multiple devices. At the end of the decade, Alpine was one of the first to master the new digital video technology. In 1999, the company launched the DVA 5200 car DVD player, one of the world's first DVD players for use in cars. The early 2000s were marked by a digital revolution in electronics, and Alpine actively embraced these trends. In 2001, the company introduced its benchmark flagship F1 Status car audio line. The F1 Status series included top-of-the-line components, head units, amplifiers, speakers, and was designed to demonstrate Alpine's capabilities in achieving perfect sound in a car. These products became a showcase for technology, reinforcing Alpine's image as a premium brand for audiophiles. At the same time, Alpine was exploring the rapidly growing segment of car multimedia centers. In 2004, the company released the innovative IVA-D 302 DIN system, one of the first head units with a retractable touchscreen display equipped with pulse-touch haptic feedback technology. This screen allowed the user to control functions with tactile feedback, which improved the convenience of control while driving. Alpine also pioneered the integration of portable players. In the mid-2000s, with a rapid growth in popularity of the Apple iPod, Alpine introduced solutions for connecting iPods directly to car stereos. In 2005, Alpine released its first head unit model that allowed audio playback from an iPod when connected to a car stereo system. And in 2007, Alpine released the IDA X001, the first CD-less head unit of its kind, designed specifically for use with iPods, full digital player integration. These steps made Alpine one of the leaders in the implementation of digital formats and the connection of mobile devices in cars. In the second half of the 2000s, Alpine expanded its product range and areas of application. The company offered not only audio systems, but also rear-view cameras, interface units for connecting external sources, and portable navigation devices. For example, in 2006, the Alpine PMDB 200 portable navigator was launched in the United States under the Blackbird brand, marking the company's attempt to enter the portable GPS market for cars. Although the main focus remained on factory-installed and built-in systems, Alpine demonstrated its ability to adapt to new niches in automotive electronics. By the end of the 2000s, automotive technology had taken a big step forward. The company successfully survived the transition from analog media to fully digital multimedia and maintained its position. In the 2010s, the automotive industry entered the era of connectivity to the internet and smartphones. Alpine was one of the first companies to integrate smartphone connectivity into its products. A landmark event was the partnership with Apple. In 2014, Alpine confirmed the release of the first head unit models with Apple CarPlay support, a system that allows iPhone functions to be used via the car stereo display. By the end of 2014, Alpine had already begun selling CarPlay-compatible receivers in the US and European markets, becoming one of the pioneers of this technology for the aftermarket, following Pioneer. In the 2010s, Alpine audio systems, navigation, and multimedia centers were installed on the assembly line in many cars, from mass-market models to premium-class vehicles. For example, Alpine was the supplier of standard audio systems for brands such as BMW, Honda, Jaguar, Dodge, Jeep, Mercedes-Benz, and so on. An important milestone in the company's history was the merger of Alpine with its parent company. On the 1st of January, 2019, Alps Electric and Alpine Electronics legally merged to form a single corporation, Alps Alpine. In fact, Alpine is now fully integrated into the Alps structure, although the Alpine brand continues to be used for automotive multimedia products. It is worth noting that Alpine has been wholly owned by the Alps Group since 1978, so the merger only formally cemented long-standing ties. Today, Alpine is a world-renowned brand in the field of car electronics. Having evolved from producing simple radio components to high-tech multimedia systems, the company has managed to maintain its spirit of innovation. Today, Alpine, part of Alps Alpine, develops comprehensive solutions for infotainment, navigation, sound, cameras, and driver assistance systems. Alpine products can be found both as accessories on the aftermarket and in new cars straight from the factory. Over more than half a century of development, Alpine Electronics has made a significant contribution to the evolution of car audio, from the first cassette players to modern network audio systems. Alpine continues to write its history. Well, that concludes the Alpine Company video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel. Thank you all.